டெல்லியில் இந்திய ஆப்பிரிக்க மாநாட்டில் பிரதமர் திரு நரேந்திர மோடி தற்போது உரையாற்றி வருகிறார். அதன் நேரடி காட்சிகளை பார்க்கலாம்.
The currents of the mighty ocean have nurtured the ties of kinship, commerce and culture through centuries. Generations of Indians and Africans have traveled to each other's land in search of their destiny or by the force of circumstances. Either way, we have enriched each other and strengthened our ties. We have lived in the long shadow of colonialism, and we have fought for our liberty and our dignity. We have struggled for opportunity and also for justice, which is the African wisdom described is the prime condition of humanity. We have spoken in one voice in the world, and we have formed a partnership of prosperity among ourselves. We have stood together under blue helmets to keep peace, and we have fought together against hunger and disease. And as we look to the future, there is something precious that unites us. It is our youth. 2/3 of India and 2/3 of Africa, each under the age of 35 years. And if the future belongs to the youth, then this century is ours to shape and build. Excellencies, Africa is already on that path. We are all familiar with Africa's ancient achievements. Now, it is modern styles are catching the attention of the world. The continent is more settled and stable. African nations are coming together to take responsibility for the development, peace, and security. African struggles and sacrifices are upholding democracy, combating extremism, and empowering women. Women now constitute around 20% of the elected members of parliament in Africa. To one who has played a role in that, President Sirleaf, I extend our best wishes on your birthday today. Africa's economic growth has gathered momentum and has a more diversified base. African initiatives are replacing old fault lines with new bridges of regional economic integration. We see many successful examples of economic reforms, infrastructure development, and sustainable use of resources. There are turning a deep economies into dynamic ones. 400,000 new businesses were registered in Africa in 2013, and mobile telephone now reaches 95% of the population in many places. Africa is now joining the global mainstream of innovation. The mobile banking of M-Pesa, the healthcare innovation of Made Africa, or the agriculture innovation of Agri-Manager, and Kilimo Salama are using mobile and digital technology to transform lives in Africa. We see strong measures that radically improving healthcare, education, and agriculture. Primary school enrollment in Africa now exceeds 90%. And across its magnificent landscape, Africa is setting standards in wildlife conservation and ecotourism. Africa's sports, art, and music delight the entire world. Yes, Africa, like the rest of the developing world, has its development challenges. And like others in the world, it has its own concerns of security and stability, especially from terrorism and extremism. But I have confidence in African leadership and the African people to rise to those challenges. Excellencies, for the past 6 decades, so much of our independent journeys have been together. Now, so much of India's development priorities and Africa's lofty vision for its future are aligned. Today, Africa and India are two bright spots of hope and opportunities in the global economy. India is honored to be a development partner of Africa. It is a partnership beyond strategic concern and economic benefits. It is from the emotional bonds we share and the solidarity we feel for each other. In less than a decade, our trade has more than doubled to over $70 billion. India is now a major source of business investments in Africa. Today, 34 African countries enjoy duty-free access to the Indian market. African energy helps run the engine of the Indian economy. It is the resources are powering our industries, and African prosperity offers growing market for Indian products. India has committed $7.4 billion in concessional credit and $1.2 billion in grant since the first India-Africa summit in 2008. It is creating 100 capacity building institutions and developing infrastructure, public transport, clean energy, irrigation, agriculture, and manufacturing capacity across Africa. In the last 3 years alone, nearly 25,000 young Africans have been trained and educated in India. There are the 25,000 new links between us. Excellencies, there are times when we have not done as well. as you have wanted us to. There have been occasions when we have not been as attentive as we should be. There are commitments we have not fulfilled as quickly as we should have. But you have always embraced India with warmth and without judgment. You have rejoiced in our success and taken pride in our achievements. And you have stood for us in the world. This is the strength of our partnership and our friendship. And as we travel on the road ahead, we will do so with the wisdom of our experience and the benefit of your guidance. We will raise the level of our support for your vision of a prosperous, integrated, and united Africa that is a major partner of the world. We will help connect Africa from Cairo to Cape Town, from Maracas to Mombasa. Help develop your infrastructure, power and irrigation. Help add value to your resources in Africa and set up industrial and information technology parks. Excellencies, as the great Nigerian Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka instituted, human entity remains in the primary asset in overall development. Our approach is based on the same belief that the best partnership is one that develops human capital and institution that equips and empowers a nation to have the freedom to make its own choices and shoulder the responsibility for its own progress.
டெல்லியில் இந்திய ஆப்பிரிக்க மாநாட்டில் பிரதமர் நரேந்திர மோடி உரையாற்றி வருகிறார். அந்த நேரடி காட்சிகளை பார்த்து